Today we're breaking down Deep Work by Cal Newport. Have you ever wondered why you can spend 10 hours at your desk but accomplish less than someone who works 4 focused hours? Why your brain feels fried by noon even though you haven't actually finished anything meaningful? And why the people rising to the top of every field seem to have mastered something that feels impossible for you: the ability to actually concentrate. Cal Newport discovered after studying the most successful people across industries that they all share one rare ability in our distracted world. They can focus intensely on cognitively demanding work for extended periods without interruption. In this video, you will learn 7 powerful strategies to reclaim your ability to do deep work, including why multitasking is destroying your brain's capacity for focus and the specific daily routines that transform ordinary professionals into top performers. Watch till the end to understand how to build what Newport calls a deep work practice, not through motivation or willpower, but through intelligent systems that protect your attention like the valuable resource it actually is. Lesson number 1. Deep work versus shallow work. This first concept reframes how you should think about every minute of your workday. Not all work is created equal, and confusing the two types guarantees mediocrity. Deep work is professional activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. Writing a research paper, coding a complex program, developing a business strategy. This is deep work. Shallow work is non-cognitively demanding, logistical style work, often performed while distracted. Responding to emails, attending unnecessary meetings, filling out forms. This is shallow work that creates little value. Here's the critical distinction. Deep work produces disproportionate value per hour invested. Yet most people spend 80% of their time on shallow work and wonder why they're not advancing. Newport's research shows the most successful people flip this ratio. They protect time for deep work like it's sacred. The average knowledge worker checks email every 6 minutes. Your brain never gets the sustained focus needed for complex problem solving. Think about your last week. How many hours of truly focused, distraction-free work did you accomplish? For most people, it's shockingly low, maybe 2 or 3 hours across an entire week. Here's what changes everything. Deep work is becoming simultaneously more rare and more valuable. As more people become incapable of sustained focus, those who can concentrate deeply gain an enormous advantage. It's supply and demand. Focus is the new oil. If you don't produce something rare and valuable, you're easily replaceable. And you can't produce rare and valuable things without the ability to focus intensely. Deep work isn't optional for success anymore. It's the entry price. But deep work is a skill, not a personality trait. It can be built through practice and systems. The people who seem naturally focused aren't special. They've just built their lives around protecting their attention instead of fragmenting it. Which brings us to why this matters economically. Lesson number 2, the deep work hypothesis. This principle explains why mastering deep work might be the most important career decision you'll ever make. Newport presents the deep work hypothesis. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare. At the same time, it's becoming increasingly valuable. Those who cultivate this skill will thrive. Those who don't will struggle. 2 core abilities determine success in the new economy. First, quickly mastering hard things. Technology changes faster than ever. Learning hard things requires intense focus. Second, producing at an elite level in terms of quality and speed. Exceptional output requires working at the edge of your abilities consistently. That's literally the definition of deep work. A single programmer in deep focus can create software that eliminates jobs done by hundreds. A researcher in sustained concentration can make breakthroughs that open entire fields, but someone in shallow work mode, constantly distracted, creates linear value at best. The harsh truth: if your work can be done while distracted, it can probably be done by someone cheaper or automated entirely. Deep work is the moat protecting you from commoditization. Here's the counterintuitive insight. Working more hours doesn't solve this. Working deeper hours does. 4 hours of deep work produces more value than 12 hours of fragmented work. Yet our culture celebrates the person who works longest, not deepest. Your earning potential is increasingly tied to your ability to do things machines can't. And machines can't replicate the insights that come from deep focus on complex problems. Your irreplaceability depends on your depth of focus. This explains why some people advance rapidly while others plateau. It's not about working harder. It's about the depth and quality of cognitive engagement. Which brings us to the enemy of deep work. Lesson number 3, the distraction addiction. This lesson reveals the uncomfortable truth. You're not weak-willed. You've been systematically trained to be incapable of focus, and it's damaging your brain. Your brain's ability to concentrate is like a muscle. Use it. It strengthens. Ignore it. It atrophies. For most people, their focus muscle has atrophied to the point where they literally cannot focus for more than a few minutes without craving distraction. The culprit is what Newport calls network tools: social media, infotainment sites, messaging apps. These tools are engineered to be addictive. Every feature is designed to fragment your attention. Here's what's actually happening. Every time you switch from focus to distraction and back, there's a residue. Your attention doesn't immediately follow. Switch tasks 10 times an hour, and your attention is so fragmented, you can't think clearly about anything. Multitasking is a myth. What you're actually doing is rapidly switching between tasks, and each switch has a cognitive cost. Studies show people who regularly multitask become worse at everything, including multitasking. But here's what nobody tells you. Even having your phone nearby, even if it's off, reduces your cognitive capacity. One study showed people with phones in another room performed significantly better on concentration tasks than people with phones on their desk. Social media companies claim their tools help you stay connected, but the real business model is attention extraction. They profit when you're scrolling, not when you're focused. Your inability to focus is their business model. The addiction is real. Brain scans show social media activates the same reward pathways as gambling and drugs. Every notification triggers a dopamine hit. Over time, your brain begins craving these hits constantly. This matters because deep work requires sustained attention on difficult problems. If you've trained your brain to seek comfort every few minutes through distraction, you can't handle the discomfort required for breakthrough thinking. Which brings us to the daily structure that makes this possible. Lesson number 4, work deeply. This strategy transforms deep work from something you hope to do into something that happens automatically through systematized routines. Newport's key insight: willpower is limited. Relying on willpower to resist distraction guarantees failure. Instead, you need routines that eliminate the need for willpower. Most people should practice rhythmic, deep work, same time every day, usually morning. Your brain learns this is focus time. Morning usually works best. Your willpower is strongest, and you get momentum for the day. Create a shutdown ritual. Decide when your workday ends and stick to it. Review open tasks. Make a plan for tomorrow, then consciously close the work chapter. This prevents work anxiety from bleeding into evening hours. But here's what makes or breaks the practice. Environment matters enormously. Create a specific place or configuration that signals deep work. Different desk, different room, specific music, or even just facing a different direction. Some people find that leaving their normal workspace entirely, going to a library or coffee shop, dramatically increases focus. The separation from normal distractions creates mental space for depth. Track your hours. Keep a tally of deep work hours completed daily. This simple metric reveals the truth about your work patterns. Most people are shocked by how few actual deep work hours they log weekly. Newport recommends focusing on leading measures, deep work hours, not lagging measures, results. You can't directly control results, but you can control whether you put in your deep work hours. Which brings us to the rest periods. Lesson number 5, embrace boredom. This counterintuitive practice might be the most important. To work deeply, you must practice being bored and resist filling every idle moment with stimulation. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you eliminate distraction only during deep work sessions, but constantly seek distraction the rest of the time, you'll never build the focus capacity you need. Think about what you do in any moment of boredom. Waiting in line, you check your phone. Commercial break, you scroll social media. You've eliminated every moment of potential boredom from your life. This sabotages your ability to think deeply. Boredom is when your mind wanders, makes connections, consolidates information. Constant stimulation prevents the diffuse thinking mode that leads to insights. Newport's prescription. Schedule when you'll use the internet and avoid it completely outside those times. This forces you to sit with boredom and resistance, rebuilding your tolerance for mental discomfort. Start small. Maybe check email only at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. Between these times, no internet access. The first few days are brutal. You'll feel anxious, bored, restless. That's your addicted brain protesting. But here's what happens. After a few weeks, your baseline shifts. You regain the ability to sit quietly with your thoughts. Problems you were stuck on suddenly have solutions. Your mind, no longer constantly consuming, starts producing again. Take walks without podcasts. Eat lunch without reading. Exercise without entertainment. Boredom isn't the enemy. It's the soil where insight grows. The point isn't asceticism. It's control. Every time you resist the urge to fill boredom with distraction, you're strengthening your focus capacity. Which brings us to the most controversial recommendation, lesson number 6, quit social media. This principle challenges the default assumption of modern life, that you should use any tool that provides any benefit, regardless of its costs. Most people use what Newport calls the any benefit approach. If it has any possible benefit, you should use it. This is flawed thinking. The craftsman approach is better. Identify the core factors that determine success and happiness in your life. Then adopt only tools that substantially support these factors. For most knowledge workers, deep focus on valuable work is the core factor for professional success. Social media directly undermines this capacity. Yes, it provides some benefits, networking, information, but these are marginal compared to the massive cost of fragmented attention. Newport's challenge. Quit all social media for 30 days. Don't announce it. Just stop. After 30 days, ask, would the last 30 days have been notably better with social media? Did people care that you weren't there? For most people, both answers are no. The honest truth is that social media benefits others more than you. The platform profits from your attention. You get fragmentary pseudo-connections and a deteriorating attention span. But here's the deeper problem. Social media convinces you that you need it. This is the voice of addiction, not reality. Hours spent scrolling could be spent in deep work that advances your career, or building genuine relationships that enrich your life. Newport isn't arguing for complete digital abstinence. He's arguing for intentionality. Use tools that serve your carefully considered goals. Reject tools that fragment your attention for only marginal value. Which brings us to eliminating the trivial. Lesson number 7. Drain the shallows. This final strategy addresses the reality that deep work alone isn't enough. You must also systematically reduce the shallow work that fills your schedule. Newport's rule: schedule every minute of your day. Not to be rigid, but to be intentional. Scheduling forces you to confront how you're actually spending your time. Create time blocks for different types of work. Deep work blocks are sacred. No meetings, no email, no interruptions. Schedule more deep blocks than you think you need. They're usually the first to get sacrificed. Quantify the depth of every activity. Ask, how long would it take to train a smart recent college graduate to do this task? If less than a few months, it's shallow. Now audit your typical week. What percentage is truly deep? Set a shallow work budget. Decide what percentage of your time should be shallow. 30 to 50% is common, and ruthlessly defend this boundary. But here's the hard part. You must become comfortable saying no. No to unnecessary meetings. No to projects that don't align with your core goals. No to quick questions that could be emails. This feels rude initially, but you're not being paid to be available. You're paid to produce valuable output. The person who's always available isn't the most valuable. They're the most shallow. Fixed schedule productivity. Decide when your workday ends, say 5:30 p.m., and work backwards. This creates pressure to be efficient and ruthless about shallow work. Email protocols create boundaries. Batch process email at specific times. Use process-centric responses that close loops. Most email is shallow work disguised as urgent. The ultimate goal isn't to eliminate shallow work. It's to minimize it to the necessary minimum and prevent it from colonizing time that should be deep. Here's your actionable starting point for implementing deep work immediately. Tomorrow morning, before checking email or messages, block 90 minutes for one important project. Turn off your phone. Close all browsers. Work on one thing with complete focus. This single session will prove what focused work accomplishes. Next, conduct a time audit for 1 week. Every hour, note whether the previous hour was deep or shallow. At week's end, calculate your deep work percentage. This reveals the truth about your current work patterns. Finally, identify your most problematic distraction source and remove it for 30 days. For most people, this is social media. Go cold turkey. Experience what your brain feels like when it's not constantly fragmenting its attention. Because here's what Newport proves. Deep work isn't a luxury for academics or artists. It's the core skill that will determine who thrives in the knowledge economy. Your ability to focus deeply is becoming your most valuable asset. Remember, your work is only as valuable as your ability to focus. Start building your deep work practice today. For more book summaries that give you actionable takeaways without the fluff, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.